Hi everyone, this is Tiffany, also known as Angel Eyes First. I've decided to do a vlog instead of just typing up a review whenever I do a series review. I just thought it'd be easier and to talk about all the books in the series instead of making a big long article about them. The book I decided to talk to you guys about today is the Heroes of Olympus series by Rick Riordan. This series is a spin-off of Percy Jackson and the Olympians series. However, if you didn't read the Percy Jackson series, you can still catch up and read this book, and I think you still enjoy it. However, honestly, I would say that you get more out of it if you had read the Percy Jackson and the Olympians series. For those of you who are interested in Greek mythology and you like reading young adult, I think you really get a kick out of this book. Actually, there's 5 books in the series, and I read them all within like 3-4 weeks or so. They're pretty thick. Scholastic has them at a 5th and 6th grade level. However, I think anyone of all ages would enjoy them, though I don't think maybe younger children should read it. The subject matter isn't the issue. It's just it's a very thick chapter book, and I actually think this series has more pages than the Percy Jackson and Olympian series. As I said, this book series has 5 books. The first one is called The Lost Hero. Second one is The Son of Neptune. Then there's The Mark of Athena, The House of Hades, and the new book that just came out last month, October, I believe, is called The Blood of Olympus. As I stated, this is a spinoff of Percy Jackson and the Olympian series. Unlike the other series, which was told from Percy Jackson's point of view, except for the last book, I believe it was told from Percy and his girlfriend Annabeth's point of view. This entire series is told from multiple point of view. In the first book, The Lost Hero, we meet 3 new demigods. Jason, Piper, and Leo. And it's called The Lost Hero because Percy Jackson is missing, and that's a mystery of this novel. However, that's not all what the series or all of what The Lost Hero is about. It's not really just about Percy, but Percy Jackson's disappearance is a mystery that Annabeth, his girlfriend, is trying to solve. And this series starts off, if you've read the Percy Jackson series, at the end of the book, after they won their big battle and everything, there's the oracle gives a prophecy. It's called the Prophecy of the Seven. And this entire series is about that prophecy. So if you read that series and you're like, oh my God, come on, Riordan, why did you leave us hanging? This series is the answer to that. So if you did read that series, you definitely want to read this to find out what happened next. In this series, besides Percy and Annabeth, there's other characters that cross over from the Percy Jackson and Olympians series. And the first book is told from 3 perspectives, as I said. It's from Jason, Piper, and Leo, 3 new demigods that we meet. And the premise of the story is Jason has amnesia, which is given to him by the goddess Hera. And she wants to recruit the 3 of them because she believes in this prophecy that was told in the previous series. And she sends Jason on this quest. And so besides what happened to Percy Jackson, why is he missing? The other mystery is, why did Hera take Jason's memory and implant false memories in Piper and Leo's memory in their minds? Also, what do they have to do with the Prophecy of the Seven? Like all of his previous books of the Percy Jackson series, these 3 demigods, they go to Camp Half-Blood, which is in Long Island, which is where the Greek demigods go. And it's a summer camp, and they go, and while they're there, they generally, about age 13, they find out who their gods are. The problem with these 3 is these kids are older than 13. They're about 16 years old, almost 17 years old, and they've never been claimed by their godly parent. And in the previous series, Percy Jackson Olympians, one of the solutions, one of the things that the gods promised in thanks for the demigods' help is that they would claim their children, and no demigods would be left wondering who is their parent and what's going on to them. Now, as a rule, those who work at Camp Half-Blood, what they try to do is they try to find demigods by the time they're age 13 and take them to this camp. And at the camp, they learn about being a demigod. They learn who their godly parent is. And they learn basically how to survive. It's generally at age 13 where and older, where their essence as a demigod becomes really strong. And they all of the monsters that go after demigods will start going after them. So in The Lost Hero, they're solving those mysteries. In the next book, The Son of Neptune, if you've read Percy Jackson, you know that's Percy Jackson. You find out what happened to Percy Jackson in I think it's 3 months when the first book starts, that he was missing. What happened to him? Why was he missing, and where did he end up? And you also meet two new demigods. Hazel, who is Nico D'Angelo, who's a character from the Percy Jackson series, his sister, and she's a daughter of Pluto, where Nico is the son of Hades. And Frank, and I won't say who's his godly parent because that was a mystery in the book. Basically, from that little reveal I just slipped, you discover that, if you know anything about mythology, that the Greeks aren't the only ones with mythology and who worship these gods. And you meet some other people. I don't want to spoil it. And Percy and his crew, they go on a journey. And you discover what happened to Percy and why did it happen to him. And how does it connect to this story, connect to the previous story in The Lost Hero. The Lost Hero and The Son of Neptune are actually parallel stories. They're happening at the same time. And the journeys the demigods take are very similar. The Mark of Athena, the third book in the series, the 3 characters from The Lost Hero and the 3 characters from The Son of Neptune, they come together, joined by Annabeth Chase and Nico D'Angelo, and they go on a quest to stop the prophecy of 7, which is told, as I said before, in the Percy Jackson Olympians story, and then it's brought up again. So if you didn't read the series, they do explain what that is and why is it important and what does it mean. They start on a quest, and that quest continues through the House of Hades and on to the conclusion of the series, the 5th book, The Blood of Olympus. Some things I liked about the series. I liked that the series, how Rick Riordan connected it to the previous series, but I also liked how it felt like its own series. I liked the development of these new characters. I also liked the treatment of the children. One of the symptoms of being a demigod is that you have ADHD, attention deficit hyperactivity disorder, and some of the demigods also are dyslexic. I think this is a good series if you have a child. If you're not reading it yourself, it's for someone, your own child, or someone in your family or that you know who suffers from a learning disability. I think that it's treated with respect, and it's nice to see these kids who have trouble in school because of their disorder become heroes. I also like that it's diverse. Yes, these are Greek gods and other gods, but their children are diverse. They're not just all Caucasian children. They have African American children, there's some Asian children, and how it's dealt with in that I thought was a nice twist. The powers that the kids have, and what I also like is, like I said, each of the books is written from a point of view, and the way he writes the stories is they're about 2 or 3 chapters per demigod before it changes demigod's point of view, and they each have their mini arcs. So it keeps you wanting to read more, and that's what makes you want to devour them. One criticism I would have... Oh, actually, let me go back. Another thing I noticed is I actually liked the last 3 books more than the first 2. And maybe it's because it took characters I grew to love from the previous 5 books and added them with these new characters that got developed in the first 2 books. But also because that's the quest, and that's where all the exciting, to me, the more exciting things happen. So I really enjoyed it. And the other thing that I forgot was one of the characters, a character that we meet in the previous series, is revealed to be homosexual. And I liked the way Rick Riordan dealt with that. I thought he did a really nice job developing that, dealing with it, and in a respectful manner. This is a coming of age story. Having said that, that's another reason why maybe you don't want any children younger than 5 reading it, just because not there's a lot of issues in here, I think, that may be a little bit above their level in terms of dealing with that, not just sexuality, but different types of families that the kids come from, and abuse, alcoholism, mental illness, that maybe not really maturity level wise for younger children. I also liked, I forgot what I was gonna say. I also liked I forgot. Anyway, what I didn't like how new character Frank Zane, he's Chinese and his parent is a Greek demigod, and how I like how Rick Riordan dealt with racism and belonging with the character. But what I didn't like was how there are a lot of African American demigods who have Greek parents, and it was just accepted that these black children had white godly parents, because the gods in the book always appear as Caucasian, even though they make it clear that they can appear any way they want. So maybe in some of those cases they didn't appear as Caucasian, but they also state that the reason they appear the way they do is because of how mortals think of them, and that's the manifestation that they have. And some gods are more powerful than others because through modern times, people still worship them and think of them. So I thought it was interesting that the African American children who were Greek demigods were accepted, and Frank ran into some issues. So even Hazel, one new character, she's African American, and I felt that she was not accepted for some reasons, but it had nothing to do with her race. But Frank, there was some issue with him being Chinese. So I thought that was strange. Overall, I recommend this series. Again, like I said, I would advise you to read Percy Jackson and the Olympians first. I think you would get, you become more immersed in this world. Plus, they do often talk about things that happened in the previous novel, whether it be from the gods' perspective or from the demigods, that happened in the previous series. And even though Riordan does a nice job of cluing new readers to the series into what happened, I just think, it's better that way if you had read the other series. But if you don't want to read 10 books, you just want to pick the series up, you can, because he does clue you in. Overall, I gave the first 2 books, The Lost Hero and The Son of Neptune, I gave them about 3 stars. I thought they were well developed, but I liked them. But the last 3 book, Mark Athena, House of Hades, and The Blood of Olympus, I actually gave 5 because I thought the stories were even more developed. Honestly, part of it is because he's not introducing new characters except for maybe new gods you meet. So all the characters. It's more action packed. It's more about the quest, and I felt like the pace was quicker read because you don't have a lot of that exposition at the beginning introducing new characters. So, yeah, 2 thumbs up. If you would like to know more, you can go ahead and check out my YouTube channel at angelize_first 1st. And, of course, my Twitter is also at angelize_first. So, as you see there on your screen. So, come by, check me out. And I'll talk to you guys later and hope you have a happy Thanksgiving. Bye.